Purdue University has announced their housing lottery for the 2025-2026 school year, and this has a lot of students up in arms about where they might be living for next school year. Hi, I'm Geoff Gooch, your local Lafayette real estate resource of choice, and if you're trying to figure out where you're going to live next school year, let's talk. Purdue University has roughly 50% of the total number of beds that they need for the number of students who want to live on campus or who might need to live on campus. And how they are dealing with this for the coming school year is they're opening up a lottery where though everybody is assigned a number and they're going to pick names out of a hat essentially. And if you're in that lottery, then you get to pick housing for the next school year. And if you don't get into that lottery, then you're on your own. Is basically what it comes down to. So what are the other options for living off campus at Purdue University? Well, let's talk through them. First off, we have apartments all around campus, the edge of campus, and throughout West Lafayette. There are 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. There are studios. There are singles. There are doubles. In Fuse, a high-rise close to campus, a 1-bedroom is $1,945 a month. In Rise, it's $2,149 a month. So picking up an apartment in West Lafayette is no cheap thing. You could go and rent a house. In West Lafayette, the median rent is $1,900 per month. You could go across the river and pay $1,200 a month in rent on the median. So you can rent an apartment, you can rent a house. Regardless, you're going to be going in with roommates. Here's another option. Buy a house. If you're going to be here for a number of years, and if you are a rising sophomore and you're going to be here through your PhD, you could potentially be here for another 9 or so years. If you're a current master's student and you're planning on staying through your PhD, you could be here for another 5 to 7 years. There is a long time in your future here in West Lafayette. So instead of renting a place, consider buying. But let's look at the map and see what are we really talking about here. So this is the map of West Lafayette and Purdue University. The core of the academic university is really kind of in this area right here. Down here to the south is the south end of campus. Housing is a little more over this way, and there's a little bit of housing over this way. That leaves a whole lot of area close by that you can live. There are apartments. The high-rise apartments are kind of over in this area. There's also some new apartments going up kind of generally over in this area over here. So those are great places to live. There are some high rises over in this general area and going down the hill over here. And there's also some newer apartment buildings over here. And then this entire area south of campus is pretty much full of student rentals, whether they're houses that are split into apartments or whether they are single-family homes that are now rentals, or whether they're apartment complexes. But zooming out here, this is West Lafayette, and then over here on this side of the river is Lafayette. Lafayette is bigger than West Lafayette, of course, but there's lots of housing to be had in the West Lafayette area. These particular areas here are kind of walkable to Purdue University, but they come along with an associated higher price. Purdue does sell a commuter parking pass. Now, parking is as much a headache on campus as housing is, so I don't want to sugarcoat it and say, oh, you can just drive in and everything will be wonderful. Yes, it's going to come along with its own challenges, but let's take a look at the C-permit eligibility map from Purdue University. So we're looking right here. And basically, if you live outside of this boundary, so to the west, 231, to the west and the south, to the southeast, River Road, all the way up to the river on the east, and up to Cherry Lane on the north, if you live in that area, you can't get a parking pass. If you live outside of that area, you can get a C parking pass. Now, you say, that's a long way All of these areas in here have single-family homes for sale that are walkable to Purdue University. The closer ones are going to be in the 5-minute range, and then the ones out here on the edge are going to be in the 20-25-minute range. Certainly not a really, really fast walk, but definitely walkable. But if you live outside of this area, you can get yourself a C parking pass. So that area that we were looking at is basically here up to Cherry Lane, over to Happy Hollow and the river, and down this way, roughly this area. And everything outside of this area, you can get a C parking pass. That leaves lots of areas of West Lafayette and Lafayette that you can live in and commute to campus. Talking about the numbers again, let's go over them. A 1-bedroom apartment in Fuse is $19.75 a month. In Rise, $21.49, north of $2,000. The median rent in West Lafayette, this is inclusive of all housing in West Lafayette, $1,900. So you can rent a house cheaper than you can rent a 1-bedroom apartment in one of the high-rises. And in Lafayette, it's $1,200. Let's talk about the cost of buying a house. Your monthly payments would be $2,575,000 to buy a house. That is in West Lafayette, which has a median sales price of $307,000. And assuming that you're putting 3.5% down, so $2,500. So a little more than $600 more than paying rent, but you're paying yourself. In Lafayette, the median sales price is about $226,000. Your payments in Lafayette, if you were to buy a house at 3.5% down, $1,276. About the same price as rent in Lafayette, and about $600 cheaper than rent in West Lafayette. Think about that. You can be paying yourself for 3, 4, 5, 9 years of your college career while you're at Purdue University. And to make this make even more financial sense, you can have your friends move in and be roommates and pay you rent. So if you bought a 4-bedroom home in Lafayette, you could bring in 3 roommates, have them each pay $400 a month in rent, not including utilities, and you would have your mortgage basically paid for. You could do a similar thing in West Lafayette. West Lafayette has an ordinance that allows only 3 unrelated people to live together in a residential zoned area. So in West Lafayette, you would be yourself and 2 roommates. So if your monthly mortgage payment in West Lafayette was $2,575, and you wanted your 2 roommates to pay that, you'd be asking them to pay about $1,250, which is still a deal in comparison to rent, or you could split it amongst the 3 of you and pay about $800 a month. Think about that. You and your friends, your roommates, could be paying into yourself. We're talking about the beginnings of generational wealth here, about the foundation of the rest of your life. And the same holds true if you're a PhD student, if you're a graduate student, if you're a postdoc researcher and just getting started. Instead of renting, all of this applies to you as well. If you're interested in home here in the greater Lafayette area, if you're a student, an undergrad, a master's, a PhD student, a postdoc, a professor, anybody attached to Purdue University, I'd love to be your Purdue real estate resource of choice. Please reach out to me. Let's talk about where you're going to live for the 2025-2026 school year if the lottery doesn't work out for you. All of my contact information is right here. Send me a text at 765-413-6190. I'm Geoff Gooch, your Purdue real estate resource of choice. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and check out all of the videos here on our channel.